changes. Hello,
Well,
everybody,
hello.
and welcome to the Overpowered Tournament here, bringing you some Vainglory action. My name is Denomine. Been a while since I've casted some Vainglory, but I'm excited to get into this.
My name is PS. I'm also here helping cast for today. I'm very excited to cover some NA games. I've mostly been streaming out in Europe, helping out some South America guys, also streaming a little bit. It's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to see what the NA teams have been up to lately. I only know a few of these teams. Can you tell me something about these teams, Denomine?
I'm actually trying to get it up right now.
I think the first match we will be Slightly Tilted versus Young Avengers. Well, I heard the name Slightly Tilted before. I'm not sure if it was announcing for this tournament or not, but I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do, if they are indeed just slightly tilted or fully tilted, halfway tilted.
Well, hopefully they're not too tilted going into game one. I'm still trying to get their opponents loaded up, so hopefully you have that ready.
It will be the Young Avengers. Let me see if I have the team rosters for them. Yeah, it appears that it will be Ishak, Avok Reeker, or Wrecker, not sure, Darth Downvote, Andre, Ace, Barcode NA, Mr. Del Toro, and Jetty Yeti doing the roster for Young Avengers. I don't have the full listing for Slightly Tilted. Well, I don't have any listing for Slightly Tilted. So I will just assume they are very tilted players and wait for who actually gets added into the teams. Not sure if we are ready for the first matchup. Waiting for the invite in game, so we'll probably have to wait a few more minutes for the matches to get underway, but shouldn't be too long.
Yeah, looking through some of these rosters we have lined up for you guys, we definitely have a couple names in here that are no strangers to the competitive scene, whether it be players themselves or people who have played as or been analysts for other teams. So excited to see what we can get rocking and rolling in here. We're getting the invite to the game now, so we should be in here shortly.
Yeah, just waiting for the teams. The usual tournament waiting time. Hope you guys get yourselves a soda or some water. Soda has too much sugar, guys. Remember, don't drink too much sugar. It's bad for your health. Drink water. Water is always good.
Yeah, stay hydrated, everybody.
Yep, stay hydrated. The pro tip of today.
I'm excited to see what some of these new heroes can bring to the table as well. I've kind of dabbled with them a little bit, but I haven't really seen any of the top players get their hands on them. Typically, they get banned away pretty early on in their life. So even watching all the big streams, you don't get to see a ton of them too often. So excited to see what we can come up with here from some of these coordinated teams.
Sanfeng really will bring good name to this tournament, because it's definitely overpowered in my humble opinion. I've seen many games broken by Sanfeng. Well, it depends on how you play him, obviously, but he's a very strong hero right now. And I was actually just checking the update notes for update 4.2, and he got a little bit of a rework. Like, his early game got nerfed, but his late game even got buffed. So I was like, what the fuck? What are they doing with Sanfeng? He's already so broken. It's gonna just remain being broken. But it's definitely gonna be interesting. Let's see how these teams work this out. We're waiting still for a few more members from the side of Slightly Tilted, apparently. So a few more minutes, but we should be underway sometime soon.
Yep.
I guess we can talk more about the update changes while we're waiting. In case you guys haven't checked them out, from the top of my head, there will be a slight buff to Adagio CP, a buff to Kinetic, a buff to Reza, which I found it extremely strange, slight buff to Rona as well, which is interesting. Some speed changes.
A lot
overall
of speed changes.
Yeah, But they compensated a little bit. Like they're gonna take away the speed from the boots, but they're gonna put some base hero speed higher. So it's gonna be. I think it shouldn't change that much.
Well, I think one in particular, and I don't know if we'll see any of it. We'll have to see how impactful the CP buff is. But Adagio was always one that was just really strong early, but struggled before he got boots. And now going from a 3.4 to a 3.8 base movement speed, I think that could potentially bring out a lot of really aggressive Adagio play very early on in the game. So I'm excited to see if we have anything going on with that. As you mentioned, he also did have the Crystal Power Adagio path buffed a little bit, but they did nerf his attack range, so it's going to be maybe a little bit of a hindrance. It's almost a whole range, almost a whole tile.
You went from 6.7 to 6, so
correct.
It cut him a little bit. I don't think. Well, maybe for weapon Adagio it will be more like a nerf for weapon Adagio, definitely, because you are going to miss that range and you're not really going to take any benefit from the CP changes. The ultimate, he also got a little nerf on the ultimate. He has less empowered on his defense, so he's going to be a little more squishy when he's trying to deliver his ultimate. So we have to see how that works out.
Yeah, I think another big one to talk about is the Celeste changes, because Celeste for a long time has just been incredibly, incredibly powerful in the meta, and she got some pretty sizable nerfs to her Heliogenesis. The energy cost is up at all levels. The damage is down. The base damage is down, as well as the crystal ratio. So
yeah, that's going to be hard for Celeste lovers out there. Definitely going to be hard. But to compensate, Scarf also got a little bit nerf on his ultimate, and there was another mage. Which one was it that also got Magnus? Magnus also got nerfed. So I think we're going to have a lot more Maline showing up again on the lane.
Yeah, and Maline brings a lot of utility to the team, so that'll be interesting to see as well.
Definitely. Some changes to some defense items as well. Overall, they will be cheaper when the update comes online. There was a buff to the capacitor plate and a buff to pulse weave. So we're probably going to see some flicker pulse weave happening again. Let's wait and see.
I just want to see some Saw come out, in all honesty.
I think he got a nerf, actually.
He did. But I just want to see some Saw play. Where's LCR when we need him?
Jungle CP Saw. That's the best Saw.
Another big one. Vox had some cooldown changes to his Sonic Zoom, so able to spam those out a little bit more frequently. Maybe bring Vox a little bit back towards the top of the meta, since some of the mages that were just so dominant have been taken down a little bit.
Yeah, definitely for the mid lane. I can envision some people on the mid lane going for some CP Vox might be good, especially on late game when you have like 4 offensive items going and get those resonance bounces doing their damage. I can see that happening. See what other heroes got changed. There was a nerf to Ringo. Sadly enough, I thought Ringo was really in a good place, and they really nerfed him, especially his B. They nerfed his B pretty well, not extremely badly, but you're going to feel it. I think you're going to feel it, especially if you play Weapon Ringo. You're going to feel that you don't really take the whole punch using your B as much as you have to, as much as you used to. I mean.
Yeah, a little bit longer cooldowns on the reflex blocks as well. So in the early stages of the game, particularly those early and mid-game ganks, watching those reflex blocks, calling them out as a team, making sure hey, Scarf doesn't have a reflex block, can really set up a lot of opportunity to get those ganks going.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot more, how do I say, you have to orient your blocks for the main team fight.
Yeah,
you can't really use them 1v1 or because you're getting low on health or something silly like that. You need to wait to use it when it really matters, and especially if you're a captain and you want to use the Crucible. You will have such long cooldown that if you mess that up, you won't have it again.
Right. I mean, it's a big increase in the cooldown, 75 to 120. Oh.
Yeah,
That's punishing if you misclick a Crucible and going for Fountain or something.
I definitely hope you don't misclick your Crucible. I mean, if you misclick your Fountain, okay, you still have that over the time healing that it still gives you, so that's okay, that's acceptable. But if you do a Crucible now, you're ruined. For the next
your whole
2
team
minutes,
hates you for the next 2 minutes.
Yeah. Just back off. Don't team fight now. Start pinging those exclamation mark signs. Back the hell up. In terms of this tournament, though, we seem to be having a forfeit for the first matchup from Slightly Tilted. They were extremely tilted, apparently. They're not showing up for the match. So I don't know what we have lined up. If we need to take a short break or if we will have 2 other teams coming up. But as soon as we know, we will let you guys know. We're in the same boat, you viewers and us. So hope you guys stick around and wait for some actual matches on Sovereign's Rise. Let's see. We used to have a backup, Mississippi Queen versus Replacement Team Clockwork, but I think Replacement Team Clockwork also forfeited by default. So we might just step up one of the matches that were coming up later and just have them now. We're waiting for a word from the administration team, which consists of only W Green.
Yeah, he's working hard here. Hopefully we can get a match started up for you guys. We obviously want to get into the action just as much as you guys. It's not horribly fun sitting here talking about update notes, but when we got to fill in time, we got to fill in the time.
Oh, I know what we can fill about the time. We just got notice from our admin that we are going to be watching the final chapter versus Nula. So I don't know any of these teams. So let me take a look at their rosters, if we can. Final chapter is Mons Umbra, Mizuke, Ethan, Untold, Luke, and Danz with 3 Z's. Apparently he's asleep.
Specifically with the 3 Z's.
Yeah. He's I guess he got he took a Samuel Ultimate to his face and he decided to change his IGN. And Nula, let me see if I can find their roster. What should the roster for Nula be?
I don't see an existing roster for that one.
Yeah, Nula is to be determined.
Not available at this time, folks.
Yep.
But hopefully we can get them in here in just a minute. Get rocking and rolling on that. Get some good action going for you guys. I think a lot of the tone of how the match is going to go is going to be set pretty early in the draft with where some of these heroes are right now. As you had mentioned earlier, Sanfeng, pretty crazy, right? It's just got a lot of combo potential, does so much damage. And I think if anybody lets that through, it's really going to be a little bit of a hindrance, but maybe we could see a possible counterpick come out too.
I think the main issue with Sanfeng is that you don't know how to counter him yet. Or at least I don't know how to counter him. And everyone I asked, how do you counter Sanfeng? And they're like, you just kill him. Yeah, okay. So why don't you do that in the match? Because I don't see anyone. Whenever they focus Sanfeng, they get stunned up. They get... and he just defends a lot. He tanks a lot of the damage, and everyone else from his team is doing damage on you, and you're just stuck there, being stunned up once, twice, without being able to finish him off. So I don't know how to counter Sanfeng. If anyone in the chat knows, please let us know the pro tip on how you can counter Sanfeng.
I quite like a lot of crowd control, but you're obviously then dedicating quite a bit of your resources to shutting down one player on the enemy team. So you leave yourself a little bit open to what the rest of the enemies have to bring. Okay. Looks like we're
going to get invited. If I can accept the requests from people.
And there's the invite.
There's the invite indeed. Thank you, Ajane. Okay. Wow, we seem to have a full roster ready. So
it looks like we're rocking and rolling, ready to go. I believe since this was an off-stream match, I think they were just getting ready to start their match. So fortunately, we were able to just sneak our way into this one. So hopefully it won't be too long. What other power picks have you really noticed on the board, PS?
Churnwalker, definitely. Always very strong.
Lots of crowd
hero
control there.
support. Yeah. What else? I've seen a lot of Gwen and Ringo recently on the bot lane. Some people on Europe, I don't know if you guys do this on NA, but I've seen this happening on Europe a lot, that you use a lance weapon in the bot lane just to be able to have an extra crowd control element on those team fights later on in the game. And he does decent counter to any CP hero or tanky hero that usually put in the top. So he's usually usable. I mean, he got a little bit of a nerf on the 4.1, so he's not as used as often as it used to be, but we still see them being played, especially by top tier players.
Absolutely. I think potentially, and we haven't really seen a ton of Fortress. We get the occasional Fortress that comes through, but I really think Fortress could be a good pick into Sandfang too, just to really kind of get those heavy burst damage down.
I don't know if I don't see Fortress as being a counter to Sandfang. I mean,
I just think it might be helpful to just drop him. Commit everything to the Sandfang.
Because Fortress is like a dive machine. You use him to dive. And if someone has a counter dive, you're pretty much screwed. So
well, we're in that part again where, we don't have like the Scarf and the Celeste as prominent. I mean, we probably will still see them because they are still very strong. But we often see a lot of like Finn or Churnwalker setups with the Scarf and with the Celeste, just because of that crowd control, that ability to protect that back line. I do think dive, if coordinated correctly, can be a very potent strategy throughout the mid portion of the game. And I think that's kind of where the update sits right now, where dive is again possible. So.
And they heard you, because on the draft they just banned Fortress, so they totally heard you. They're stream sniping. Sneaky bastards.
Fortress and Reza down, as we mentioned. We had some Reza changes. We did have some Fortress changes as well, maybe bringing him a little bit closer to the meta. The bleed was buffed back up to 20% damage, so that was one of the things I could definitely see Fortress being really helpful for. Finn now taken off the board. That was another captain that we were just talking about. Really good at the crowd control, really good at protecting that back line, both with the crowd control as well as providing fortified health to those backline mages. And now the Magnus taken off, even though we had a couple small changes to Magnus. Still strong, still quite strong.
The update hasn't come into effect yet. I think after update 4.2, you will not be picking Magnus or banning straight out Magnus as much.
Well, last update he had some tweaks too.
He got some nerfs as well. That's true, but he's still strong.
Fang has made it through.
Yeah, you're gonna see the full power of the most broken hero on Sovereign's Rise right now. Ayane will tutor you on the power of the Sandfang.
Or maybe it's Lagging Dragon who's going to show us how to counter the Sandfang.
Yeah, just use the Aces High and hit Sandfang before he uses his ability, and then everything's good.
I think Meline might also be a pretty decent pick into the Sandfang too. The ability to root, to dive into the shadows and get away from his damage. Yeah, there's a lot of potential, but Sandfang also just so scary. We've got the Celeste and the Yates picked up here as well, followed up by the Jewel. So lots of tankiness.
Enjoy the Jewel while you can, because after update 4.2, you're not going to see Jewel anymore. She got a very strong nerf to her B, which was pretty much the only thing that she still had left after the previous nerf. So she's just going to be gone. She's just going to be...
be a little bit rough, and it looks like we're going to be restarting the draft here in a second.
Re-rolling. Someone tried to change the skin on one of the heroes and clicked exit by mistake. Happens all the time.
It happens. We'll get you right back in the action and see what we can get going here for you guys.
I heard that.
Sorry about you guys' ears, but we're getting back in. Everything appears to be going the way it was. Sanfeng picked up again. It looks like we should see a Gwen and a Maylene, followed by the Yates Celeste, followed by the Jewel.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can hopefully get through this draft and get through the day.
Oh, Grace. Very nice. I like Grace. And she's going to get a buff on update further too as well. So we're going to see a lot more Grace on Sovereign's Rise and Alcyon Fold.
And it looks like we have an Adagio, and that was one we were talking about in the update notes a little bit. Obviously not quite to those changes, but definitely someone who, again, has that increased range still, that 6.7. So very good at harassing in the lane. And it looks like we might have the Ylva come through as well for the final pick on the A side.
Ylva's still very strong.
Yes, she is.
Like very skill-based way of playing. I always compare her to Kestrel somehow because it feels like you're laying the traps and waiting to catch someone off guard.
It's almost like a hybrid of Crystal Saw and Kestrel.
A little bit, yeah. I would have to agree. And she didn't got a nerf on update for that too, curiously enough. So interesting. She'll definitely stay in the meta.
Definitely going to stay in the meta, but I feel like you have to be very precise with her movements. So I think she's fine really where she is. Yes, she comes through and just has an incredible amount of damage. But if you commit too early, you die. So we have to see what they're able to pull together here.
Yep. Game is loading up. We're ready to rock and roll on the Sovereign's Rise. They don't really rock and roll, though. They don't really have guitars. Well, Cruel had a guitar at some point. Poor Cruel. Do you remember when people used to play Cruel? Back when he didn't have a 40% win rate? Those were the good days.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, let's mention to the update notes, Cruel got a slight buff. Like, very small, just to his ultimate. Not really gonna make people play him more, I think.
More of a quality of life thing than anything else.
Yeah.
We're getting into this game here with we've got Final Chapter on the A side, and Nula will be on the B side. So as soon as we get through this loading screen, we will get into the action for you guys. We have the Ylva, Sanfeng, Celeste, Yates, and Adagio for Final Chapter. And we've got Gwen, Maylene, Jewel, Grace, and Lance for Nula.
For Sovereign's Rise has begun.
Yeah, I'm curious to see which hero goes into which place. It seems that Sanfeng will probably take the top and Adagio the bot. Okay. And Ylva will be jungling?
Very likely. Very, very likely.
Because I've been seeing a lot of Ylva on the bot lane as well, so I was wondering if she would end up jungling or being or whatever. Because Sanfeng can also be a jungler, so it depends a lot on where you want to do.
Sanfeng can do all the things.
Yeah, Sanfeng is master of all skill. Anyways, we have the face off of Adagio versus Jewel on the bot. I think Adagio should have the overhand on this one.
Very early on he should, but as Jewel gets built, definitely going to see some pain come through out of that Thunderstrike. I am interested to look up here in the top lane. We'll see how the Sanfeng does up against Gwen. Gwen obviously has that ability to get out of the lockdowns with her Skedaddle, so a little bit of a safety net there. Gwen also packs in quite a bit of damage herself, so maybe it'll be enough to harass Dance here early on in Sanfeng and maybe keep him from getting into that really painful spot.
If he overextends, though, it's fine. Or if Gwen overextends, I mean, it's gonna be good because with one combo he puts you at half health. So it's
it's pretty rough.
You just need a jungle rotation, and we might have first blood here on bot. We're trying to get a little bit of a catch there. Let's get the stun.
And there it is. Yep, first blood over to Ylva. That's going to be one on the board. About a 1.2k gold lead so far for the side of Final Chapter. Senfeng up there getting some decent harass in on the lagging dragon here on the Gwen, but we see Robin Flare is up here, the Lance able to get those lockdowns early on. Let's see if they can make a play out of it. He does have that weapon buff as well for that additional slow on his attacks. Unfortunately, misses the Impale, misses the Get the In wall, and that's going to be Dan making it out with his cheeky little blowing of the kiss there.
And meanwhile, the mid is under a lot of stress. 3 players there for quite a while now, and it's already going down. So this Malene not able to holding. Lance wants to rotate, but decides not to. And we're going to have the first turret already at 2 minutes 45.
Yeah, unfortunately for Malene, not a ton of clear early on in the game. So with that call out that Lance was in the top lane, it was definitely a key opportunity with where Yates and Yorioki located. They were able to push that turret, get more gold in their favor. They're now sitting up 2k early on, and that's a good start. That's going to get Celeste packing some big damage real quick.
Yeah, definitely. Lance also got caught up over there. I don't know if that was a disconnect or something, but it definitely felt like he wasn't playing as well as he should be playing. Don't want to be calling out any players.
To go for the Halcyon Chargers very early on.
I've seen that a lot on the current meta because it really helps you with the energy problems that you have with the changes that they've been doing.
Well, especially
you also have the
advantage you have in the lane now. The advantage of having that first turret down is pretty helpful for Celeste. She's not really going to be in a situation where she's pushed too much. So I can agree with that a little bit.
Rotation up in the jungle. Hane was there trying to get to. They're going to catch this Lance off guard. Get in wall, tries to keep him alive for a little while longer, but they're going to persist onto him. Maws, pull, and dead.
And Sangfang, the legend, coming through, dealing all of the damage, cleaning up the jungle to go with it. 3 kills on the board for the side of Final Chapter. Third out, sitting up 3,000 gold. Meanwhile, we do look down in the bottom lane, and Adagio is getting pressured back a little bit at this point. We're going to have to see what he's able to pull together. He is going down the weapon path, so again, we talked about the attack range being incredibly helpful for the weapon earlier, so it does have a little bit of a fallback, but those Thunder Strikes, even with just the Crystal Bit, are coming through, chunking away Moon's Umbra pretty easily. He doesn't really have the energy to sustain his health at this point. He does have his flask available, though, if he so needs it. But here comes Mizuki, and there's the stun from Jewel. Mizuki, can you find the kill? Limit is going to come through. Oh my god! The kill goes back and forth there. 5 on the board for 1. Yates is now here. I don't think they're going to be able to get the Maylene. Excellent play there coming from Limit, coming through, saving the day, sort of. And we are 5 minutes into this game, 4k up on the side of Final Chapter.
Very well played by the Jewel there. He managed to capitalize. He was about to die against that Celeste. He managed to get a return kill. That's something. Now we have 3 members putting some pressure on this bot lane, and Malene not able to do much. Gets pulled in by the wolf. Small stunned up, and she's dead. Not dead. Now she's dead. Infinite is just arrived, tries to do some damage, is forced to run away. Hane will jump on him and try to finish him off if she has the boots. Yes, she does. And that's another kill and another tower for the side of blue.
And the snowball seems to be picking up a little bit of speed. Excellent rotations coming out of the side of Final Chapter. Maylene, Limit has actually had some really good plays made, but unfortunately, Maylene just doesn't have the wave clear early on to deal with a lot of the pressure that the Celeste can put down. And I really think that's having one of the biggest impacts right now for the side of Nula.
Yeah, definitely. That feels like a big hole in the mid lane there. I don't think she had the proper support from Lance as well to make sure she could endure. And up against the Celeste, it's very hard to win that early game trade. So, but it seems like the other lanes are doing all right. I mean, Jewel just lost the bottom north, but she's doing a lot of pressure and farming all right. And Gwen on the top of the farming, okay.
Very early ghost here, though. It doesn't look like anyone knows what's going on or has any interest in stopping it, but it looks like this is just going to go over to the side of Final Chapter, and that's going to be a pretty massive buff that they're going to have. Again, the snowball was...
Malene is in the bad position. No, get away! She uses her ability to get away. What's this called? Wicked Escapade.
Wicked Escapade, as well as the
Wicked
boots
Escapading
use.
through the land. I love the names of the abilities. Like on Valine especially, it feels like she has too many words on her abilities. And
no
Royal
surprise. No surprise here, we've got a lot of utility coming out of Sanfang, still able to do absolutely ridiculous amounts of damage. Limit is looking to be forced to fight alone here in the mid lane. I'm not sure if we've got some lag coming on there. Here it comes. There goes the Impale. Able to get the Githian wall down, but is it going to be enough? It's not. That's going to be Gates making it out alive. Things remain 7-1. The Solar Storm flies through and just misses hitting Limit. Don't know if it would have had quite the damage to kill him, but it would have been very, very close with that Spellfire ticking down after. And got a,
yeah, the burn would definitely, could possibly get him rough.
Yeah, he had his flask up, so that's kind of why I'm a little bit iffy on it. So we'll have to see what they're able to pull together. This Ghostwing buff almost run out here on the side of Final Chapter.
But in terms of gold, we really see that the blue team has a clear advantage so far. 4k gold lead already, and they're doing 3-man rotation to the mid, trying to put down some pressure, but both Lance and Maline are there to make sure that nothing happens. There's some sneaky play here in the bush, actually. Luke just hiding there, waiting for someone to overextend. Don't think he's gonna get lucky, though.
Yeah, it doesn't appear to be the case. Dan's playing it pretty safe here. He did lose that top turret, so that was one picked up by the side of Nula. But he's just going to let his minions die. That's going to deny Lagging Demon any more gold on the Gwen. And he's going to be able to come through with this next wave of minions and pick up some gold for himself.
The bot getting caught off guard. He was out of energy. He was using the Thunder Strikes to clear that lane. And then when the Adagio rotated on him, he had no energy. Jump jet away. So they're gonna lose another turret out of that slight mistake on the side of the 3-man team here, pushing it, even have the buff on their side. Comes a Wild Jew, sends out the big red button, and scare away, gets pulled in, but almost stunned up. Ilva falls on top of her. That just tries to finish him off, not enough, gets stunned back in return. But he's healing back to get okay. The Impale misses, unfortunately. Here comes a Wild Limit, tries to get some damage done, but decides to rethink his position in life. Solar Storm ripping through, but not really catching anyone. Might have another
This might be a kill on the Yoda, but they're able to pick one up onto Jewel. They now have Maylene running for her life, but the Wolf Smaw comes through and picks up that kill. Lance is going to fall as well. Triple kill for the side of Final Chapter. This is certainly going to be a turret going over to them. Some gold in their pockets. They're sitting about 8,000 gold up at this point, so they're in an incredibly comfortable spot. Dan's making the excellent rotation there, picking up a couple minions in the mid lane that were going to die. The wave was pushed up. He had vision on Gwen not doing anything, so he was able to just let that minion sit.
We're going to get another ghost.
They are going to pick up another ghost ring, and this match is starting to look a little bit on the one-sided side, if you ask.
Yeah, definitely it's advantage for the blue team right now. I really love the plays on Gates there. The Wolf Smaug catching 2 opponents at critical times, so really well timed on those. And the rotations, as you mentioned, were really on point. Both covering the top side of the map while the rest of the team was rotating down to make the difference. I did like that the Maline there wasn't as squishy as she was earlier on. She managed to do some damage, even if she ended up still dying in the end.
Yeah, it does look like Infinite is trying to get himself this Crystal Treant. He should be able to. We've got a surrender, actually, from the side of Nula, so maybe they also decided that the game was a little too snowballed for them. Or was I not paying attention and Grace wasn't playing that whole time?
Yeah, they were missing a Grace. That's pretty much what
That's my
happened.
fault. I never looked in base. That is totally my fault.
It's my fault as well, because I also didn't notice that Grace was missing. Some pro quality casting right there. We don't notice that
there was
one
just,
member from the
there
entire team was
so
gone.
much action going on the whole time. I just never looked into base and seen Grace wasn't there. It was just constantly constantly pushed from the side of Final Chapter, and a lot of it makes sense now. So I apologize on that, guys.
I thought Lance was like the roamer, and he was trying to, do rotations and failing. But yeah, they were one player short, so that explains a lot of things. Mostly the lot of pressure that they suffered on the mid lane.
Yeah.
So yeah. So that might be promising for the next game. They do seem to have Dark Intent back on the team, so you should be able to play now. Don't know what happened with this connection, but unfortunately, players are responsible for their connections. So
that's a critical yikes. There is what that is.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we can get him into the game this time.
Nope. I think they forfeited the whole match, and we should probably be going up into the next match that we have lined up. So they're going to the losers bracket, unfortunately. Next up, we will have Miku Hatsune versus Crunch Time. Let's take a look at the team rosters for them. If they have given them, Crunch Time is with Stellar Revolution.
Stellar Revolution, X1P9X, I'm Supreme, Vital, and Lennox.
Exactly. And the other team, I don't think we have info on them.
I don't think we do either. I was looking earlier and I didn't see it.
Mm-hmm. So we'll have to see as they invite us to the game. But, well, interesting first match. Sadly that we have a disconnect there. Wasn't as competitive as it could have been. But, I mean, for playing with 4 people, they were doing pretty decently. Right?
I mean, I guess it's hard to say, it's hard to say when you're down a person overall.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. So let's check with our.
I'm just a little bit shocked that they didn't surrender earlier.
Maybe they couldn't, or they were hoping for their teammate to come back. I don't know.
That was a long period of time to be down one.
I just cast here, man. I don't know the full story. I don't know what's happening.
Facts.
Let's see what WB Green tells us about the next matchup, if they will be ready sometime soon, or if we will have to go into a small break. Hopefully we'll have the other game coming up between Miku Hatsune and Crunch. Was it Crunch? Was Crunch, right? Yeah, Crunch time.
Yeah, Crunch time.
Okay. Let's wait and see. So, update notes, hey? What else got updated?
We can jump back into some update notes.
There was a small nerf to Catherine. Huh? That was a very small nerf. And a small buff to Anka. She can wave clear faster now. That's the good quality of life update for you. There was a buff to Alpha Prime Directive. It has less cooldown. So that's going to be interesting. Alpha being even more oppressive than he already was early game. What else? Buff to Grace. We already talked about that. Even though the energy cost increased, she will do more damage and have more or smaller cooldowns. Buff to Inara. We haven't talked about that.
Yeah, a little bit on the cooldowns early on, but at the same time, a little bit energy cost on that Banishing Kick as well. So that is something you're going to have to balance out. You can use it more frequently, but it's much more punishing on your energy bar. We also had a little bit of a nerf to the ultimate, giving it a longer cooldown, that Nature's Wrath, from 80-60-40 to 90-75-60. As well as the energy cost becoming 100 across the board, but the damage is up. So again, some good damaging changes for her, but at the same time, a lot more dependent on the energy management. It does look like we're doing a giveaway, exclamation point and giveaway in chat. So make sure you guys get in on that. I'm not sure what it is yet, but W Green has let me know that that's a thing, so hopefully he'll give us an update here on what it is. I know it's some skins. I don't know which
Or
one.
Sunfang. You could get Sunfang if you don't
And
have it.
Sanfeng. Yep. So the first
it's
one
a
is going to be
feather-
the
it's a
feathered
feathered
Anka skin.
Yeah, I actually like it. It's a pretty good skin. It looks pretty cool. I think it was a good rework of the original skin by the side of SEMC. So pretty nice. Remember to type hashtag giveaway.
Exclamation point giveaway.
Exclamation point giveaway, not hashtag. Well, you can try hashtag as well, but you won't get the skin with that. Try both just in case. You never know. There's currently no give. I think WB Green is figuring out how to start the giveaway. So just a second. We'll be right there.
Looks like we're starting to get the group ready for the next matchup too. Hopefully we can get right into that one for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
And
apparently we'll have a small break to get stuff. I don't know how many minutes.
Yep. NA people, get yourself some coffee. EU people, get yourself some coffee. And we'll be back into the games as soon as we can.
What about if you're from South Asia? Do you get to get yourself some coffee?
update, guys, if you can hear me. Hopefully you can hear me. We will be returning at 1:30. I imagine that's Eastern. WB Green, can you give me an update real quick while I'm giving people a time? Yeah, Eastern time, so that's 45 minutes from now, and that's when we're going to have hopefully the next game up for you guys. We don't have a match that we can stream for you at this moment. So stick around, make sure you follow so you get the live notifications, as well as I imagine there will be a tweet going out when we go back live as well. So we'll see you guys here shortly.
See ya.